Hello, I am Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz. Today is September 19, 2015, 1:05 a.m. Birmingham. Topic: I wasn't going to do any more blogs this evening, but I failed to do the very one that I meant to do first. And let me mention something to you. The fires that's blazing where they are, the droughts at where they are, the so-called ozone hole where it is, I'm going to tell you, everything that's happening with our weather, so-called, what is the Pope coming for? Global warming, BS, exactly what it is. It is Haarp. It is Haarp, Haarp. Haarp, when they put the aluminum oxide in the skies, that reflects heat from one place and then it reflects heat downward to another place. I'm telling you, when it's laid out properly and it's laid out in a grid work, then people have been saying that it has actually deflected the heat back up. That's not true. In some places, yes, if it's solid. But when you do it in a way, picture them doing it in a way where the level of the airplane is from 40,000 feet, maybe 50,000 feet. And how they layer these things, they're pointing more heat to certain areas, therefore scooping up the moisture that's in the clouds and not allowing that moisture to fall. Look, Haarp is controlling the weather here, more so than a global warming, because God says, I alone control the weather. That's taking global warming out of it. So who else would be screwing with the weather? Our own people, that's who. So y'all think about that. There's not a global warming. There's a Haarp tragedy that's going on, and it's a man-made tragedy. It's a purpose-driven problem here that is going to do three things, okay? Number one, it's going to cost you a lot more money. Number two, it will divide the classes. There'll be two classes of people: the very ultra rich and then the rest of us. And then the third thing that it's going to cause is just what's going on right now around the world. That will continue and that'll get worse. We are right at the doors. Cern, what their holdup has been is when you speed up these particles, you have to have like a magnetic train or electric train you see in Japan. They have them that'll actually exceed 400 miles an hour. These are big trains, but the magnets in the rail have to turn on and off just at the right time. So when you turn on a magnet section that exactly the very length of that train to keep that baby moving, the faster you run these magnets, the faster that train will go. It'll eventually get to the point of where even if there's a circle that takes 5 miles to make that turn, that train would derail and go 3 miles out through the land before it ever touched the ground. I'm telling you, magnetics is what's pushing it and pulling the train, and the magnetics is pushing and pulling the particles in Cern. The faster the magnetics go, this is why they say it'll reach just under the speed of light. Well, all they got to do is speed up the magnets a little bit, and then it will exceed the speed of light. So the problems they've been having with it is getting everything where it's not getting too hot. The magnets are turning on so quickly, it's really not going off. 15-mile circle. When they ignite, when they go on to push that particle, they're off for a millisecond, a thousandth or 100,000th of a second, the twinkling of an eye. That's how long they're off before they're back on, pushing those particles. Well, they are ready to see what's behind the veil. Now, let me give you something else to think about. And they have it because I went online and checked last night to verify it before I was going to do this blog. They have cameras. They have ways to take pictures at 1,000,000 frames a second. Take 1 second. Take 1 second. Let a supercomputer take 1,000,000 frames in a second, and then you go back and play that second at normal speed. I don't mean the million, I don't mean a split second. Play it at the speed that you and I move at and drive at and do things. We'll sit there for 6 months, maybe longer, before that second is over. When you play it at normal speed. And the speed I talk, and it may take 7 months. I'm a little bit slower. But think about that. If you got 1,000,000 frames a second, and look, they can go higher than that. That's for us. So what about on the other side? That portal door that can be opened, or that opening of that veil, man, for us it's open a split second. For them it may be open for 6 months. Really think about it. It's possible. But anyway, all the talk, all the blogs that are pouring out about the Cern, it's very, very troubling. And if you just go and take a peek at it and see what they're telling us today, wow. I can see a garage door open, or 100 garage doors open, and I can see where several million of these things would come through during our second or during their time period of hours or days or weeks, whatever it may be. Another thing, if we can't control their time on the other side, you can bet they can control their time on the other side. And they will control it to the point of when God says, send the angel down with a key to the bottomless pit. How do you know Cern is not the lock and the keys on the way? Jody Wolf Expoz.